My name is Heather Lee Cameron. On October 26, 2014, the life that I had known changed forever because my biological father died of stage 4 cancer of the adrenal gland after fighting it since July of the same year and realizing that there was nothing that could be done. It was a very hard time for my family and I because he handled his anger, his grief, and his pain by drinking as he did in life, and that took a lot out of us, the drinking and the behavior that came because of the drinking. And by October of that year, we were all starving for compassion. We were all tired. We were all worn out. And it was only because, and I believe this to be true, it was only because I was helping with sealings in the temple every week that we had spiritual strength at all, because that kind of news, having a loved one dying of cancer who handles the news by being abusive and turning to alcohol and other things that changes their ability to be good and kind, that can take a lot out of caregivers. Even caregiving for someone with cancer can take a lot out of people who are suddenly thrust into the role of caregivers. Anyway, it took a lot out of this. But on October 26, 2014, just after 5, approximately 5:15 p.m., I was at the hospital bringing my mother dinner because she was the main caregiver and she was very fatigued. And I thought, oh, I can do her some good by bringing her some dinner. And so I brought her dinner and she was there with a couple of our close friends. And as I was talking to my mother, checking on her, seeing how her day went, all of a sudden I noticed that my father's breathing changed. And I brought it to everyone else's attention. And he passed away shortly thereafter. And I just sat on the couch for half an hour after the fact, and I cried. And funny enough, it started raining not long after he died, and perhaps that was heaven's way of showing compassion to all that we'd been through in those months, and the fact that suffering was now over. Anyway, after I sat and cried for half an hour, I had the strength to be able to go home and just process and talk about it on social media, because I had been writing this blog this whole time he had been sick, and I wanted to just say, hey, this is a very sad update, but it's a meaningful, important update. And so I went home, and the moment I walk in the door, I see one of my mother's friends in a nice Sunday outfit on her hands and knees scrubbing my family's kitchen floor. And I was just so moved by this, that someone would take time out of their busy day to come and scrub my family's kitchen floor, and just realize that, hey, it's okay to forget myself and my busy life for just a moment and show some compassion to some good friends who have suffered this tremendous loss. I mean, we knew it was coming, but it didn't make it any less tremendous. Anyway, I was so shocked by that. And then this friend's daughter showed up, who was one of my friends, and when I was downstairs, because I went downstairs and I updated the social media and just took time to process what had happened. And this friend's daughter suddenly showed up in my room and gave me a hug and just sat with me as I updated my social media, because I take a great amount of comfort in writing. And we just sat there and very little was said, but I knew she cared. It hit home to me that day that a person's presence, just simply them being there, is small and simple, but it is great in the eyes of those needing compassion. The fact that people were there doing what I'd consider small and simple things, that spoke to my heart, that even though my dad struggled with addictive demons and he wasn't a kind person because of them, people still showed compassion to the loss of him and to how the loss of him affected us, how it affected me. And I am so grateful for that. That God knew that we needed compassion in that very moment, and so he sent people to perform small and simple acts that showed great love. And it reminded me of how the Savior just may simply give us his presence sometimes, and the fact that he's there giving of his time to us, that shows that we matter to him. And those simple acts that my family's friends showed, that showed that we mattered to them as well.